construction here. City of Rockford officials want to remind drivers to stay cautious while driving on Charles Street as construction there is in full swing.
23 News reporter Alyssa Reamer learns more about what drivers should or shouldn't do during this construction and what the final product will look like.
Drivers should plan ahead when traveling, as leaders expect Charles Street to be closed until early September. Because of this, police citations will be given out to anyone who attempts to drive on it. City of Rockford Public Works Director Kyle Saunders says the city is trying to work with people as much as possible to allow traffic to flow smoothly while Charles Street and the side streets connecting to it are closed. Saunders says the city will be placing more detour signs around the area to avoid any further confusion and so people can better plan the route they need to take.
During the first 2 weeks, it's going to take just a little bit of time for people to understand where they can and can't go. So we're also hoping that just, through people using the detour route, they're going to know exactly which path to take in order to get around Charles Street.
Saunders says though he understands this is an inconvenience for drivers, everyone needs to stay patient as the city rebuilds the road, add walking paths, and improve intersections.
Thank you, Alyssa. And Saunders says if you're heading eastbound, Charles Street up to 28th Street will be open to reach any businesses from other directions. Detours will be necessary to follow.